My name is Rebecca Sweet, and I am a gardener. I come from a very long line of gardeners, tracing all the way back to the 1800s. Great-great-great-grandmother was a gardener, and my mother and my grandmother. It seems almost every woman in my family has been a gardener. My family moved into this house in Los Altos about 35 years ago. Over the years, I would watch my mother and father work so hard, and slowly they've turned it into an amazing garden. I now call this home my own. Bought it 10 years ago with my second husband, and I've lived here for the past decade with Tom and my daughter Emily and my stepson Michael. Because I've lived here for so many years, there's everywhere I look, there's memories. Even some of the plants are still the same, and they're like old friends, and there's a lot of my parents' influence still in this garden. I have on the side of my office tools which I've rummaged around and taken from my grandfather's garage and my mother's garage over the years. These aren't things that I went out and bought at a flea market or an antique store. They're all from my past. When my kids were younger, I did everything I could to help pass along that love of gardening to them. And so I would make vegetable beds and plant the things that they like to eat. We had a cherry tree, and they would come out and just strip its branches of cherries and just gorge on them, and they loved it, and would always end up having a seed spitting contest. My husband is not so much a gardener per se. He doesn't have that urge to come out and clean up a planting bed. What he loves to do is build things, and so he takes over the projects in the garden and has built my aviary for my canaries for me, and has built a chicken coop for me. I'm a garden designer by trade. And my office that I work in, he did all by himself. So that's his contribution, and it's a huge one. Whereas some families might call the kitchen the hub of their home, the garden is the center of our home. Gardens absolutely have the power to heal. They can be very meditative, they can be very calming. When I first moved back here, I was going through my divorce, and I had a little 3-year-old, and I moved in with my parents. And the last thing I wanted was a garden or a home or anything else to remind me of what I had just lost. And so I didn't come out into the garden at all. And over the next few months, my mother slowly tried to coax me back out into life again, and gave me a little section of her garden to plant something in. So we just went and I got a little simple 6-pack of pansies and put them in the ground, and it just felt so wonderful again to have something living and feel the roots in the soil and to put it in the ground. And I think it was at that point that I started coming back to life again. I believe all gardens have a soul. I believe actually every little plot of land has a soul. It's just waiting perhaps for the owners to breathe life into it. When I'm working with a client, my job is to work with them and have them breathe life into a garden. And I'll create the structure and the plants and the layout, but that's not enough. And so I try and figure out their passions and figure out how we can start to breathe life into their garden. And once that starts to happen, once you see the light bulb go off with them, the garden just starts to evolve and it becomes their own. My name is Rebecca Sweet, and I am a gardener.